Good morning. How are you all this morning? I hope you're doing great. I'm doing well. In fact, I'm doing great because this morning I get to talk about my most favorite thing, and that is science of mind. I could talk all day on science of mind, but they only give me 20 minutes, so I guess I'm going to have to make it a little bit shorter. My name is Reverend Ron Card, and I am on staff at the Center for Spiritual Living Carlsbad in Carlsbad, California. And I would like to take this opportunity to welcome each and every one of you here this morning. And I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge the ministers and practitioners of our center. I feel we have a very talented group of individuals. And the one thing that we all have in common is we love to pray. I love to pray. I believe so much in prayer. In fact, even before I start to do anything, it's prayer first. I feel very strongly about prayer, and I feel that with prayer, all things are possible. I feel that prayer lines us up with spirit, lines us up with God. It's a God power that is within us and in the words that we speak that make all things possible. We love to pray for you, and we would also love to pray with you. So if you have something going on in your life, prayer, trust me, prayer can help you move through it. It does not matter what the challenge, it doesn't matter what the blocks are, because I do believe with prayer all things are possible. So whatever that challenge is, whether it be health, wealth, more money, job, relationships, or just feel blessed with life, that life is good and life is just unfolding through you, let us know. So that way we can hold the light for you. We can hold the light, the love, and the power. That power that you are. We are all powerful beings. What you do is you just call 760-434-9579 and leave us your message on what you would like prayer on. Or you might know somebody who's having a difficult time, somebody who's having challenges in their lives, or maybe even a block where they can't just move through that. Let us know so we may also support them. You can also reach us on truthliving@aol.com, and just please leave us your prayer requests. We are here to support you. We are here for you, and we show up every Sunday because of you. This morning I have the opportunity to deliver this Sunday morning message, and this is the beginning of the month, a brand new month. Yeah, and during the month of October, this brand new month, we have a brand new theme. We had a theme in September, and we're going to have a new theme in November. But the theme for this month is Harvest the Good. Oh, it feels so right. Because isn't it in between September and October we harvest that good? I planted a garden back in March, April, I think maybe beginning of May I planted some things. And right now in September and October, you should see the tomatoes I'm getting. You should see the radishes and the cucumbers and the peppers. And this is the time of the harvest. So it really seems fitting for this month to be Harvest the Good. Mine inheritance. I am always full of life. We are full of life, yes. The title of my talk this morning is Prepare for the Harvest, because I feel that in order for your harvest, whatever that may be, whatever your harvest is, to be successful, is to plan and prepare for it. Because good preparation really helps propel it forward. But before we get into that, what I want to do is I want to talk a little bit about the harvest. So what do I mean by harvest? And when I think of harvest, I think about planting. Like planting a garden or planting a crop. Like I just mentioned, my garden that I planted way back in April and May. You know, it is a season when ripened crops are gathered. And my crops right now are very plentiful, so yes, I agree with that. And so the harvest actually is the supply of anything at maturity. I am saying anything loosely here because I'm going to expand a little bit on something else. An example of our crops or our gardens might be tomatoes or corn or wheat. You know, when we plant those seeds, look what happens. They come, you know, in nice red ripe tomatoes from that little seed, or that corn or the wheat. You know, harvest also has a biblical meaning. And the symbolic meaning of harvest is the scriptures encompasses two main areas for this. One is God's provision for us, and then the other is God's blessing for others. You know, right now I'm reaping the benefits of my, you know, tomatoes and cucumbers and all that. And when I bring them in, we have more than we need. And I've been giving them to the neighbors and to friends. So we're sharing. But if you look at the items or the terms in planting a garden or crop, the harvest season usually only comes once a year. You know, I planted my garden back in April or May, and I'm reaping the benefits now, and so it'll probably be next year, April or May, when I replant them again. But you know, we experience the spirit of the harvest all the time. We walk around with that spirit of harvest. We are constantly planting seeds. You know, we plant these seeds in mind, and that's what I want to talk about. You know, these seeds are our thoughts and our ideas. I mean, think about that. We're thinking all the time. Ideas are always coming up. But do you ever notice they come up from within us? Yeah. You know, think about the seed is, whatever seed you plant, that is what you're going to harvest. So, we really have to be careful. That is why I said a minute ago, the harvest actually is a supply at anything at maturity. And that includes our thoughts. That includes the ideas that we come up with. And like I mentioned, we really have to be careful at what we plant. You know, all of us kind of approach life with great expectations. You know, for instance, how we entertain our New Year's resolutions. You know, at the end of December, going into January, we decide we want to change some things. And what we do is we affirm that we're going to eat better, or we're going to lose weight, or we're going to get out of debt, or we're going to pray more, or serve more, or whatever that is for you. But we are all moving in the direction of making life easier, in the direction of attracting more in our lives, and to make life better. So I feel that the first thing in a harvest is determining what you are harvesting. Because we have to think about what seeds we are going to plant. And we have to be careful. And that means we're going to be living our life more consciously. We're going to be aware of what is going on within us, those ideas and those thoughts that are coming up. And once we know what our harvest is going to be, the next step is, how do we prepare for it? And that's really an important step, because you really have to think. You know, a man stumbles upon a magic lamp, and he picks up this lamp and he begins to rub it. And after he's rubbing it for a short time, out pops this genie. And the genie says to the man, I will grant you only one wish. And that has to be picked from 3 choices. So you have 3 choices to pick from. He can either be the richest man in the world, or the most popular man in the world, or the wisest man in the world. And the man says, well, we all know that money does not bring happiness, and that popularity just makes you a slave to the whims of others. But wisdom is everlasting. I want to be the wisest man in the world. And the genie goes poof, and suddenly the man's face assumes a serene expression. And he sits down, starts rubbing his chin in thought. And then he looks towards the genie and says, I should have taken the money. Think about that. You know, how many times do we do the same thing? We're not clear about the choices we want to make. We're kind of indecisive about what it is we want, and we waver a little bit. So how do you prepare for your harvest? You know, the first thing you have to do is make sure that you have good soil. Make sure your soil is good and rich. Isn't that what we do when we go out and we plant our seeds, our tomato seeds, or corn seeds? We want to make sure we got good soil. So when you plant your seed in mind, you want to make sure that the soil of your mind is good and it's rich. So we have to be careful on what our attitude is. You know, if you are angry or you're resentful or your thoughts are contain fear and unforgiveness, then your mind is not good and rich. It's not good soil. The seeds you plant will be in conflict with the soil in your mind. But if you're happy, if you're positive, if you're affirmative, if your expectancy is there, if you know, if you have faith, this makes good soil to plant your seeds in. Then, after we have good soil, what kind of seeds are you planting? Remember, the seeds that you plant will be your harvest. They will come in your experiences and in the conditions that you have in life, and that's really important. If your harvest is not what you want, what you need to do is take a good look at your soil of your mind and the seeds that you are planting. You will also have a choice, and we have to remember this. Just like if you plant tomatoes and you're planting your seeds, and all of a sudden you decide, you know what? I had tomatoes last year. I think what I want to do is I want to plant peppers. I'm going to have peppers. So you can uproot those seeds and plant seeds of pepper. So you have a choice on what the seed you want to plant. You know, you can be like the second farmer and plant your seeds in mind and just wait around and see what happens also. Oh, wait a minute. I got a little ahead of myself here. Let me tell you the story about the farmer. You know, there were these two farmers, and they were waiting for their harvest season. Farmer A, he goes out and he plants it, you know, he clears his field and everything and makes it the soil nice and rich, and he plants his seed and he waters it and he nurses the field every day. And Farmer B, he just goes out, throws some seeds around, kicks back, and he just waits. Let's see what seeds are coming up. Which farmer do you think is going to have a better harvest? And that's why I want to talk about this a little bit. You know, once you plant your seed, maybe your seed, you want more prosperity, or you want better health, or just maybe a house or a car that you've longed for. Know your crop and make a plan. Do what you can where you are with what you see to unfold in your life. And that's so important. You know, Linda just taught me a little lesson about that. I went and I have a brand new iPhone. And while I was buying my iPhone, they told me about a watch, you know, the iWatch. And so in finding out that they're coming out with a new one and it's going to be a really good price, something I could afford, I came home and I said to Linda, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to have you my Christmas present and my birthday present. I want my iWatch. I want to have my, just like I have my iPhone, my iComputer. And so she said, how much are they? And I said, oh, you know, somewhere around $300 or so. And so, but that's what I really want. And so what she did is she started out with nothing other than the thought that she was going to give me that for my birthday and Christmas. And what she did is she did what she could with what she had. She started putting, she got $15 here, she got $10 there, she got $100 there. And each time she got a little something, she put a little bit towards that. Until right now, she has the whole thing. And this is what we have to do when we plant our seeds in mind. We have to do what we can with what we have at this time. You know, you must water it. You must pull the weeds. Every day, focus on your harvest. See your harvest in mind. See yourself as already doing it or having it. These are the important things. Because when we do this, we see the weeds coming up. We pull those weeds and we align them up with what we want and what we desire. And we place those weeds, those negative beliefs and thoughts, with loving, positive beliefs. This is what we have to do. And once one of your main ingredients that goes into this, into your soil and into the seed, is spiritual mind treatment or affirmative prayer. It's what I totally believe in and has changed my life in so many ways. You know, when you align yourself with the power of spirit, you make your harvest bountiful and you make it strong. This is the food you add to grow your garden, to grow your harvest. This is how we prepare for the harvest. But before we end, what I'd like to do is I'd like to share with you. I found this in the Science of Mind textbook towards the back. And I think it really kind of highlights what I'm talking about here this morning. It's on page 448, and it's under the heading, Good Thoughts and a Good Harvest. A good tree produces good fruit, so good thoughts bear a harvest of good deeds, while evil consumes itself in the flame of its own fire. If a man's life produces good deeds, then the man himself is good. And this is no matter what his particular religious belief is, or may be, or may not be. The mouth speaks from the heart. It is impossible for a man to conceal himself in every act, every word, or gesture. He stands revealed as he is, and not as he would have himself appear to be. From the universe, nothing is or can be hidden. The very walls have ears, and the mirrors of life can help reflect back to us that which we really are. Jesus very plainly tells us that we are held accountable for the very words we speak. No man ever lived who placed a greater power in the word. And by our words, we are justified or we are condemned. The word may be considered to be the complete thought and act of man. There must be a thought before there can be an act, and a thinker before there can be any thought. The thinker condemns himself through his thought. So, what are your seeds you're planting? What does your harvest look like? What are you harvesting? I want to thank you for joining me this morning. And I do hope that you put something in either the comment or you reach out and call us at 760-434-9579 or truthliving@aol.com. And if you so choose, you would like to support us, you could go to cslcarlsbad.org. We have a donation button. You can donate. We would just love to hear you in any way or form. I want to thank you, and I will see you, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.